Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in this world. Welcome to Be Victorious. I'm so excited. It's a little off air here for me because it's a little late. But you know what? Sometimes Be Victorious means that we're just here when our heart feels the right thing to do to be here. And I'm honored to have my guest here with us tonight because she is just so dear to my heart. She's such an amazing and caring lady. And what she does is just delicious. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to say too much. But let me play the intro. And then I will bring my guest back here on stage with us. And then we'll chat. And please share this. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I love questions. But what I love so much is that the fact that you're going to share our life, right? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello there, Flo.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
I'm
Good
so
evening or good morning or good afternoon, whatever you
excited.
say,
Well, because
wherever you're watching from.
because you're in California, right?
Right.
You are in. So I'm in Denver. My family's watching from Romania. We have friends all over Europe watching. We have friends on East Coast. We have the world is just a small place when we're all learning how to be victorious from you. Because
Oh,
in my opinion, in my eyes, you're such a victorious person, and I just want you to share your story with us and teach us how to be like you because
oh.
I want to be victorious.
Oh, well, it was a long road, but I don't I I guess you'd like I'll start with my mom and dad because they have a great story.
Okay.
Uh, my dad came from the Philippines, and he worked for a very wealthy family in the late 40s, 50s, and very wealthy family. He was their everything. He did their cooking, their gardening. He was their chauffeur, so he was everything for the house. Well, they went on a trip. I guess it was like a 3-month trip, a sabbatical.
Wow.
And they didn't know what to do with my dad. So he said, "Well, why don't you go ahead and just send me back to the Philippines? I'll take a vacation too while you take a vacation."
But
And
this was when was this? Like in about like
1954,
okay.
54. And so they said, "Okay." So they sent him back to the Philippines, but he was 50 years old. So, but never been married and just was living high, was room and board, was everything at the house that he was at. And so back then they had to telegraph. So he telegraphed a message back to, they were in California, in Southern California, in the Pasadena area. And he telegraphed the house and he asked for permission to bring home a bride. So they telegraph wherever they are in Europe and they telegraph back. So it takes them a while to get the communication back. And they said yes.
Wow.
Then he went to go find one.
Oh, wait a
He
minute.
got
She didn't have
permission
a bride.
first. Yeah, he wanted to get permission first. And so his sister knew my mom's parents, and my mom had six there were 6 girls in the family. So she was the middle, so she was selected to get married. She was 21. So my dad was 50 and my mom was 21 and they got married. So
Wow.
it was arranged marriage. So I kinda guess I learned a lot from my mom because she was the matriarch of the family. I'm the youngest of 3. When she was coming here from the Philippines, the family arranged for her to come here, and, um, she didn't know anybody, anything. They bought her clothes. She was pregnant with my sister. So my sister was born in August and it was super, super hot.
Yeah.
And the family said, okay, we're leaving the Pasadena area and we're going to, it's around Santa Barbara. It's like the Beverly Hills of Santa Barbara. We're going to our beach, our beach house, and where it's cooler. so, so my sister, because she was just a newborn, so they moved to Santa Barbara, and that's where they pretty much stayed. So
That's so cool. So nice that they had this supportive family to care for them.
right.
I think we know our audience here. Bob. Bob says, "Way to go, Dad." I mean, right? And thank you so much for being with us, Bob. Bob says, "Two amazing women. I love you both. We
Um,
love you so much." And honestly, I appreciate you, Bob, so much for everything that you do for us. Right? He's just so amazing. Wow, Flo, that's such a story.
so
Wow.
that's how it kind of all began. And then I really didn't get to be in the house with because I'm the youngest. So my mom was taught by the man of the household because my dad he was 50. He was living large on life and didn't have any bills or responsibilities or anything. So he was a gambling man. He loved to go to the racetrack, and so he didn't know how to save or anything. So the gentleman of the house, he was called our grandpa. We called him grandpa because we were family.
Right,
And we didn't have in grandma or grandpa. They were all in the Philippines.
right.
So he took my mom aside and said, "We're going to deposit money in your account, and I'm going to teach you how to spend, how to save." And he taught her ledger, the old-fashioned big books, and how to add everything and subtract everything. So he taught her, and she had kept all of that information, and he typed things out, and he even had like, don't loan money to family. I mean, he had all sorts of things, and if you're going to do this, pay cash, all these things that
That's
advice.
I'm pretty sure he felt like your mom will be the responsible head of finances. That's usually how it is sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess in the Philippines, the women run the house, so he kind of knew that.
Yeah,
Even though he wasn't Filipino, he just hired them. I mean, they had a huge ranch, in that area, and so they had another Filipino family that ran the farm, and then my dad ran the house basically. But he knew that the women were the ones that ran the house, and so he taught my mom everything. So at 21, she learned from the best. So
that's awesome. I know from your story that you grew up on the farm, so now it all kind of all comes together, and now I understand why on your website I have an echo. I don't know if it's me. This is the website where we can find you, right? So on your website, there's a little bit about your story.
mhm,
But this is where I've learned a little more about you from what I knew from our common friends. But you said in on your website and in your story, I know that you grew up on a farm, so now it makes sense. And how you were kind of trying to get away because you didn't like to be outside. Tell me so were you expected to do work outside, or
yes,
you were?
yes. We the I mean, it was just my parents and then us, my brother, my sister, and we were expected. There was no argument that we were to go do whatever needed to do. My brother always got to drive the tractor, so I was always jealous of that. I always got to water everything, so I got to play in the water and in the mud. So I was a kid.
Yeah.
so when summer school would have, I love school because I didn't have to be in the field and picking everything. So when summer would I was just depressed because I was like, "Ugh, we don't get to go anywhere. We have to wake up earlier than we do when we go to school. We couldn't even sleep in." So, and I got paid like they finally started paying me, I think when I was probably 5 or 6, a penny a pound to pick green beans. So I hated it. I didn't like it. So being with my parents working for the wealthy family, they would have like afternoon tea. So any snacks, boil water for tea. I was okay, I'll go. So I ran up to the house.
You would volunteer to get
Yeah,
anything
and I
done.
would just go into the kitchen because I hated cook or I hated just being in the field,
Yeah,
um, just so much that I was like, "Okay, I'm destined to self-teach myself how to cook," basically,
yeah.
and that's how it all began, and we had a huge crop of berries one year, and my mom says, "Well, make some pies, make some jam because there's just so much." And I was like, "Well, how do you make jam?" And she goes, "I don't know. Read the instructions, read the recipe book." So I did, and I just that's where it all started. I was like, "Gosh, how come it tastes so good? It doesn't taste like the store." And so I just always remembered how good it tasted. And then years later, when my
How old were you when you first made that batch? What do you
I
think?
don't know. I think I was like 8, 9. 'Cause I
Wow.
remember making pies later. I kept making pies and, making the crust, by hand and everything. So I might have been 8, 9, 10, something like that.
And you made this. Okay, wow. That's
Yeah, so I made all the jam, and I liked it so much that year after year, it was just, "Oh, there's some plums, there's some apricots, make some jam," figs,
you know that this is what you are meant to be. Like, did you have that business idea back then, or did you just made it because it was your passion? Or
I just made it because it kept me out of the field,
right.
and we liked it. We liked the taste, and we would give some, away, and everybody was like, "This is so good. This is so good. You should, sell it."
Uh-huh.
But we never thought anything like that until years later. I went to school, graduated from college, and then moved away, and then when my kids were at a fundraiser, we were just walking around and there was a vendor that had a big sign that said homemade jam. And I got super excited. I was like, "Do you have testers? Do you have this flavor?" And she did. And I got really excited. And then as soon as I tasted it, I was so disappointed. I was like,
Not yours.
this isn't how I remember how it tasted.
Yeah.
So I started asking her, "Where'd you get the fruit? What'd you do?" She goes, "Oh, I got it at Costco." And I was so I
Wow.
kinda turned my nose up going, "Oh, well, that's why it doesn't taste the same." And then my kids said, "Well, why don't you make jam?" And I probably made some jam for them and made pies for them, but it wasn't like they didn't know. So I thought, "Well, yeah, I could do this." So then that's where it kinda went full circle from hating to work in the field, learning how to cook, making my first batch, and remembering how that tasted to is like full circle. So that's the
Awesome.
story.
Wow. It's just so amazing to me how things happen. And even when we don't really think that we're meant to be that, they're just, we're somehow like working towards that without even knowing. And then there's events that happen that just from there on you're like, okay, well, this is not okay, because when you tasted that jam, you're like, this is not okay.
Right.
This doesn't taste like what I'm making, and so what I make is so much more valuable for the people around that could benefit from that.
Right. And then I thought, Well, everybody always thinks jams and jellies and then peanut butter. So I was like, I don't want to think of that because a friend, when I was an adult, a friend said, "Oh yeah, you put jam in this with a bag of, onion soup mix and you can make this roast or make this chicken." And I was like, "With jam? Really? You can cook with jam?" And so I started experimenting, cooking with jam, putting everything. And so when I did my flavors at first, I had so many flavors at farmer's market. I had like, I don't know, 20 flavors. And somebody would always walk up to me and say, "Do you have whatever flavor, XYZ flavor?" And of course I didn't. And I was like, "Ugh." So then I'd make it and then they would never come back to farmer's market and, and get it. So I was like, okay, forget this. I'm only going to do 5 or 6 flavors. I'm gonna perfect
Amazing.
it. So started asking what flavors at farmer's market would you like? And so my friends would say, "Gosh, you should do wine flavors. You should do jalapeno flavors." And so I just started experimenting with the flavors. And my mom still was growing, up on her. She sold the farm years later, after I left, but she still had her backyard full of raspberry plants and fig trees. So I would always come back home wherever I was and get all the supplies and make all the jams and jellies. And so I still grow the raspberries and the figs that I make today,
In your
but
backyard.
in my backyard. Yeah.
I don't think I could ever get tired of eating raspberries. One of my favorite fruit, and oh, it's so good. I want to acknowledge a few of our friends. Troy is here with us. Hello there.
Hi, Troy.
Kellen Ann, oh my gosh, hello, lady. We haven't seen Kellen Ann in a while, so good to see you here. Thank you for being with us. Oh my gosh, Flo. Now I think about your jellies and the jams that you make, and mm, um, you know what I want to ask you? How did you come up with the idea? I never thought, and I saw on your page on Facebook that you put jelly over, I think it was cherry over potatoes. You have a TikTok video
I
and it's
do.
on your Facebook. So, how did you, or where did you come up with the idea, or how did you mix the flavors? Because I also heard Bob talking that if you never had breakfast, like eggs with jelly or something that he mixed for him, once you have that, you never go back. So you can never have, the normal plain.
It was just experimenting. I liked the flavors and I knew I could make salad dressings out of it. So I would melt the jelly. And one time we were making a flavor and my mom was, still with us. And we were making what we call lumpia. It's like an egg roll. So it's a Filipino roll. And we always put it in a dipping sauce. So I melted some of the cherry jalapeno and we just started experimenting. We put it on the lumpia and my mom said, "Stop." And we all stopped and we were like, "What?" She goes, "Make some more of that because it's good with this." So then we just kept experimenting, putting it on our bacon. So what Bob likes is I do a sugarless flavor too for those that are trying to watch their sugar intake. And I've made a sugarless cranberry jalapeno, and that goes on bacon, on omelets, cheese omelets or spinach omelets, avocado toast. So I just started experimenting. So I was out in the yard and my mom had grown some potatoes. So I picked some potatoes and I thought, I wonder if that cranberry Chardonnay would be a tasty glaze on these potatoes because it made a really pretty glaze on chicken. So again, I just took a spoonful and I said, I'm just going to try it. So I tried it. I ate all of the potatoes because they were so good. I went back out in the yard, picked some more potatoes, and put some more of the jelly on it.
Pick some more for the rest. So for our audience that's watching this and will shop on your edible farmgirledibles.com, and will get their shipment and get it to the house, we recommend first making a batch for yourself before you share with the family, because it's just not going to be enough for everybody. Oh my god, so delicious.
And I've had people, when I've given them as gifts, they say, "Oh, we're gonna hide this." You know, they'll get the jar and they'll go, "We're gonna hide it. This goes up on the top shelf." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "No, no, no, this kids can't have this one." I Well, no, that's not fair. They're like, "No, this is ours. This is ours. This is not for the kids." And I'm like, "Well, that's sad."
Well, it's just so good. That's why.
And
Wow. So
a lot of my girlfriends, they sit there and they go, "I just can't help it. I have to scrape the jar because it's just so good." So I just start laughing.
gotta make bigger jars. We gotta go
Bigger jar.
go bigger. Um,
No, just buy more.
we buy more. Yes. Thank you, Bob, for sharing. And Bob, I'm sure the bacon with jelly is so good. So we're gonna have to try that. And Bob said it's the good stuff. It is the good stuff.
And
Because
it is cute because there's I network with some moms, and she gives, the raspberry jam for the kids, because the wine flavors, they keep to for them, and then, the jalapenos, they might be too spicy for the kids, but the kids are always asking, she goes, my daughter always asks me, she goes, "I want the good jam. I want the good jam."
so the
So,
wine flavor, does it have, is it with alcohol in it? Does it, do
it's
you make it with wine?
make it with wine, actual wine, but the alcohol cooks out. So,
We don't tell the kids.
yeah, some of them tease me because they'll say, "That's still in there. You got my kid drunk."
That's the best idea. You know, it's got wine, it's not for kids. We can tell them that. It's
And
not.
I always like experimenting. I'll put I'll get cream cheese and whip it in the blender, and then I'll add the jelly in it, so it's already ready and ready to put on your crackers, your bagel, any of that. So it's already ready.
Oh my gosh. When are you coming to Denver?
Actually, my daughter lives in Denver. She's studying, she's in her physical therapy school, so she's in her last year.
Okay.
Um,
Come visit while she's
Graduates
still
in
here.
December, but
Yes.
hopefully we're planning a trip. Hopefully we're planning a trip soon, so
That's awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait. And I will like bring everything that's needed and just put you in the middle of it and be like, okay, Bob and I will watch you cook and put stuff.
I think that's my love language, cooking, so it's act of
Experiment.
service to see if everybody likes it.
That's so awesome. I want to ask you something. So you were adventurous to try things, and you, when you were at that farmers market and the jam that you tasted was not good, you said, okay, I I can make better than this, and mine will be just so much so good. But why would you tell somebody that does have a dream there and know they can do something, but is something's holding them back? That being fear, or that being whatever's holding them back, or maybe resources, or maybe believe in themselves, or how do we encourage somebody to really go for it just like you did? Because you made that decision and you told yourself, I got this. I know how to do this. And there's so many people out there that want to do something that find valuable for the world around them, but are somehow resistant. How do we encourage them to go for it and be victorious?
I took baby steps. I researched. I asked that lady a lot of questions. I mean, she was probably wondering, because when I went to college, when we wanted to find out something, we would call up a business, and and it's something I've always done, called up a business and said, "I'm a student, I'm writing a paper on blah, blah, blah," and just start asking questions, and it's just amazing how much information that that person or whatever would tell you. So I learned that way, ask lots of questions, and I even went to, like a business school. They had mentors that you could ask any question. And so I went and said, well, how do I start? What do I need? Um, what are the different areas that we can make jam? Because since it's a food item, you know, you have to worry about health certificates and all that. So I really did a lot of research, and then I started out slow. So at first it was a hobby. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I could just do the occasional fundraisers, the little boutiques. Um, Sometimes we'd set up all the other gals that sold Tupperware or Mary Kay. They
Yeah.
would come in my driveway, we'd put up our little tents like we were at farmer's market, and we'd sell out of the driveway, and we'd invite all our neighborhood girlfriends, and that's how we would sell. It wasn't until I got a kick to kick it into gear was when I was getting a divorce. Being the stay-at-home mom, um, thankfully, I was educated, I had a degree to fall on, so I thought, "Okay, I gotta take this hobby and just still go," and I'm still learning, I'm still just a couple years new into having a co-packer, which means, I have a company that makes it now.
Mhm.
Before I was everything. I would
You were
make it, I would sell it, I would so they still hand pour it in the jars because it's, made in small batches, but they make bigger batches at one time, whereas I was just making 1 batch at a time, 1 batch at a time, 1 batch at a time. So, things just kind of led my way. I've learned a lot along the way. Um, it's taken a little longer, but I'm still doing it. So I'm learning new things. Like I said, I'm still trying. Like you had said, how did you know to put that? I just, I either hear a voice or just say, you should try that. So I'll
you
try
just
it.
experiment. You just experiment.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that you did not, and the divorce did not stop you from going bigger. It was the fuel that really, kick you in the gear.
Right. Right. It was almost a challenge though. When I was going to college, when my mom would tell me, "Oh, you don't need college. You don't need to go to college." And I was like, "No, I'm going to college." So that it
It's
was
the
like,
opposite in general. It's the other way around.
right. So
What
it was
happened?
almost a challenge. So when my ex said, you may not be success," well, he pretty much said I wasn't gonna be successful, and I was like, challenge. So
Watch me.
right. So it was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," and so that I
And
think that
you're
that
amazing.
that was the fuel that, the doubt. So I was like, there were times when I was like, "I don't know. I don't know if I'm really am I really gonna do this?" Because when I would do the farmers markets, it was hard. I mean, and people would sit there and go, "I don't know if I could pay that much for a jar." And I was like, "Do you know how much work goes into a jar?"
And it's not much. Your prices are not much. They're not enough. You should raise
Oh,
the prices.
raise the prices.
We're hard work, and it is hard work, and it's so good. Bob says I'm the official taste tester. Somebody's got to do it. Well, you're blessed, Bob, to be the official tester. That's so amazing. I love your story, and I love that you actually took almost took charge of your destiny, I want to say, because you
Hmm.
said yes, no, watch me, I'm gonna do this. And so does that always fuels you when somebody says you can't do it, you just use that as fuel?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. My brother and sister, they're probably pretty tired of because I was the only one that went to college, so they're like, "Well, you're the one that went to college. You're mom's favorite, you were mom's favorite." So, um, she may have not wanted me to go to college, but then I it was like, well, what does Flo say? Because she went to college. So I said, see, you told me
That
not to
they
go.
probably use that, like they use that almost like against you. That's so incredible. Flo, you are just such an awesome person.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I relate to when you said, you were a stay-at-home mom and you kind of knew what your gift is, and that was this. How do we help people find their gift? You know, when we if we have a stay-at-home mom that's watching us that's just not happy where she is, and maybe the husband goes to work and she's at home with the kids all the time, and the kids are close to being independent. They're not babies in diapers anymore, and now she wants to find herself, and she wants to do something just like you did, or whatever her gift is. How do we help her find her gift?
That's a
What?
great question. I resorted back to what I knew and what I was comfortable with. So it was back that's why I kinda laughed that I went full circle because I hated working in the field, yet here I am making, jams and jellies from a byproduct of what, I was learning and what I was comfortable with. So just find what you're comfortable with and what you like doing. Um, I just thought everybody needs to taste what I tasted when I was a kid. That should be not what's on the store and the shelves. I was reading all the ingredients that are in the store, and I was like, "Well, no wonder why it's cheaper. They're putting in junk, the corn syrup." So my nieces are saying, "Yours are clean ingredients." And there's only a handful of those ingredients. So it's clean, it's not it's and
Real.
that's why it tastes the way it tastes.
It's real.
Right. So that's what when you wanna find something, you find something real to
Mhm.
you. Not everybody's gonna have, what you like, what I like. So it's what they like, and that's where they're probably gonna soar faster and better because they're gonna have to go back to what they're comfortable with, what they know, which is what cooking was what I knew. So,
Because you were trying to get out of the heat.
and I got to watch TV, and my brother was like, "No wonder why you" he goes, "I never knew that story," and I was like, I got to watch TV, I got to turn the TV on, and this was before any we didn't have microwave ovens, so I'm dating myself, but we had to cook the rice on the stove. We didn't have a rice cooker until
I
years
still do.
later.
I still cook the rice on the stove. That's how I know
Right,
how to cook. I don't.
right, and that's how I learned, so we didn't have a rice cooker where you could just put it on and 30 minutes later it was ready.
Yeah,
So we had to watch it and make sure so we would take a little extra, I'd wash it a little longer.
yeah. That's so awesome. That's so cool. And it's so true what you said, that you have to go back to, because to, where you are and what you love in your core. Because when I went through the divorce and ended up being an only parent with no job, single mom, raising a 1.5-year old, I was a stay-at-home mom before the divorce, so had to figure out now what. And I had a job before I had my daughter, and I got to stay home with her. I had a job that I absolutely hated, and as much as I hated it, I went back and I asked if I can have the job back. Before Alma was born, I had to quit, because then we decided that I'm going to stay at home with her, and the job was not available anymore. So then I had to find out, and that's exactly what I did. I sat down and I thought, what do I like? What do I want to do? Because learning and reading, and all the books that I read, and all the people that I heard, and all the coaches, and all these people, all I could think about was, if you do what you love, you will never work, and
Mhm.
you will just continue doing what you love, and it doesn't feel like work. So that's the best way to find something that you to do is what you love.
Yeah. And I would help my mom with farmers markets before I was even selling at farmers markets. So she always thought that was fun. And I was like, I don't know, it's a lot of work. And so the farmers markets, they worked for me, but then it was a lot of work. And it took my son to say, Mom, you're just killing yourself. So why are you doing all that? And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I stopped. I stopped doing certain things. And sometimes you just got to do it to figure out that you got to do something else.
Gotta
You got to
stop.
tweak it just a little bit. Like not having so many flavors to please everybody. So when I started honing down and concentrating on that, then that's where I kind of found it, basically. Found what I wanted to do, found a niche, just kept narrowing it down, narrowing it down.
And it works great because from there on, and do you think there's going to be more things that you will have to adjust, or now it's like flawless and everything works great? And
Oh, no, it's never fun. Even though I have a co-packer, I still gotta go, make sure that I'm quality control,
yeah,
basically,
right.
making sure tasting, even if I am there, sometimes it just could be a weird day where it may not gel or something could always go wrong.
Yes, something always comes up.
Yep. So
Incredible.
it keeps you on your toes, I guess, it keeps you humble.
And keep going and keep going. But I love what you said, that you just have to do it. You can never do something unless you start,
Right.
and you have to start, and then you have to keep going, and then that's how you evolve and grow, and you learn as you go, right?
Right, right. When I was first getting the divorce, I didn't have any money. Um, so I went to the local farmer and it just happened. I was like, you have strawberries. I can make your jam because I wasn't even going to do my label. I have a commercial kitchen. I could do it. Um, and he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Well, the season just started. I remember it was February, and the season had just started, and he got a whole bunch of berries that didn't taste like anything. They had no flavor. So he thought, "Oh, I'm gonna call her and she can make jam." And I don't know, he had 40 flats, which is 12 baskets of berries, and he had, I don't know how many, 40 or 50 flats of berries, and I was like, "Oh, wow. I don't know if I could do this." And I didn't have access to jars, so I had to go buy all these ingredients at retail, not wholesale.
Oh my god.
So, I remember it was a lot of jars. It was probably like 250 was one, but I remember that check. I still remember it was in phases. The first one was like $4,000. So it was a lot of jam. And I had to hire some people to help me make it. So I was renting the commercial kitchen and she was like, I have some workers here. So I didn't want to give away the recipe. So I did all the ingredients and this one guy was just stirring. And so every time that batch was done, I would give him more ingredients. And um, so that was back in the days that it was hard, but it was like that farmer was, God sent because I kind of needed to save up some money. And I had the business account, so I put it all in the business account. So that was what I called my escape money. So
Darlene is right. Look at what she says. Wow. So true. Wow.
Yeah, so the strawberry money was what helped me.
And it just things fall into place when they're meant to
They
be.
do, and when you have faith, because I was praying a lot. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't have a job. I was working temporary. It was a temp job,
Mhm.
at the school, and I knew I had to find a place because the house was getting sold. We were having a short sale because we couldn't afford it anymore. So my kids were older, thank goodness. But still, I was like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to live? And I remember on my lunch break, I was at school and I had an hour and I was just driving around going, "Wow, I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't even know if they're going to rent to me with just this temp job." Um, and one night I went to my bunko night with my girlfriends, and one of the gals there, she worked for a company, and she says, "Hey, you still looking for a job?" I said, "Yeah, you got one?" She goes, "It's just 3 months, but it's probably going to be more than what they're paying you at the school." And it was like $5 more. And I was like, "I'll take it."
Yes.
And it just, like you said, things just kind of fell into place. And I was looking at a apartment, and I said to the HR gal, I said, "I'm looking for an apartment. I'm going through a divorce. Can you just tell them if I give them your number, could you verify that I work here and or whatever questions they ask and that I make X amount?" And she goes, "Sure, I could do that." And I was like, "Gosh, thank you." I got the place. I was like, "Okay, things are just falling into place. So just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward."
Keep going and keep being the a good person as you are.
Oh,
I love you. Your story is just so amazing, and you're just who you are. Like when you talk, it's truly such. It's you're like an angel. You know,
oh,
honestly, everything you went through and how I always wanted to interview you because your willingness to fight for the right thing and your the way you keep going and how you build this business is so impressive.
oh,
And
thank
this is
you.
where you start from, like running away from the heat to go in the kitchen, and then as a young child to make the jam, and then later on in life to realize that, wait a minute, I have to do this because mine is better, and continue to growing that, and how you grow the business now, where you go in business places and you network with people, and it's just so incredible, so victorious in my opinion.
Oh,
And
thank you.
it's the world needs more of you. We just need
I don't know, but thank you.
we just want to learn from you.
Oh,
Yeah, we want to be amazing like you are and victorious. We have Joe with us. It was ready to sell after that. It was all fresh and brand new. I think we were talking. I think this comment came when we were talking about the strawberries at the farm. That it was. Then you sold us. Oh, Flo, you have to write a book.
wow, yeah, maybe. I have an e-cookbook though, it's pre-sale.
There we go.
So yeah, that's
Tell us about the book.
um, well, it all came about when I was experimenting. I was like, "Gosh, nobody," and even Bob was saying, "Nobody cooks with jam and jelly." Everybody thinks of it as peanut butter and jelly, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't pigeonhole, it's better than that."
I eat jam and jelly with bread and butter. I do not like peanut butter, and so in my house, and to me, it's dessert
Mm,
after. So it's something sweet after the meal. I like to eat something sweet, and in general, it's just a piece of bread with jelly on it or jam, and that's my dessert many times. I don't know. That's how I grew up.
mm.
But yes, having a book would be amazing.
Well, now that charcuterie boards are so popular,
Mhm.
um, my wine flavored jelly and the jalapeno flavored jelly just they're perfect for that, and they're perfect for brie cheese. I make a grilled brie cheese sandwich with either of any of the jellies. Um, and there's a difference between jelly and jam. So the jams are made with the whole fruit and or chunks of the fruit, and then the jelly is just made with the juice. So the wine flavors are the or the jellies, and the jalapenos are a jelly as well. So the
Did you make
raspberry
a jalapeno? Jalapeno jam?
jelly, it's
Jelly.
yeah, jalapeno. It's a there. I have two flavors: a cranberry jalapeno, excellent on turkey meatballs as a glaze. Um, and even my grilled cheese sandwiches with cheese. The cherry jalapeno again is a dipping sauce. You can use them as dipping sauce, salad dressings. So I decided to share all that. And then as I was researching, I found some of the ladies make like their whiskey drinks or cocktail drinks, their vodka and with raspberry jam. Some take the wine jelly. They said take the wine jelly, put it around the rim and do your colored sugar just for ladies' night or something like that. And I was like, wow, you can make it with cocktails too. So I showed my son because he loves drinks, whiskey and that kind of thing. And I showed it to him and he went, I never thought of that. That sounds really good. I'm going to try that. So I'm gonna have him to so the book, will include a few of the cocktails and the beverages and that kind of
How do
thing.
we find the book? I need it.
So it's available to pre-order. You'll get an idea sheet right now, but, the book will be hopefully ready soon. So
That's awesome. And we can find it on the Girl
farmgirledibles.com.
into
And
the shop
yeah,
section.
and the yeah, shop. It'll say, recipe book or cookbook or ebook. So
Yes,
it's a pre-sale right now, and you'll get emailed to you the PDF of the idea sheet right now.
that's so cool. I'm so excited.
Oh,
Ah,
thank
I'm
you.
so
Thank you for having me on.
welcome. I'm so excited and I'm so glad that when I know I asked you like a while ago and I said I want to have you on my show. I want to have you on my show. And then we just get busy and we never had a chance. And now I thought I need Flo on my show because I
Oh.
saw your TikTok. And how do we find you on TikTok? Is it Farm Edible? What's your ID on TikTok?
I think it's Flo Mina, and then
Okay.
I couldn't figure out how to get on Flo Farm Girl. I got like they were like, "Your account is done." I was like, "Wait, but I can still tag it." So Flo Mina is the my TikTok, and then I'll still tag Flo Farm Girl or some Farm
Keep
Girl.
putting stuff on because I'm gonna make those potatoes with. But at first, I need to. I'm waiting for your jelly to come to get here, and then I'm gonna try all the recipes and all the stuff that you have. I'm so excited.
Oh,
My mouth was literally like I'm.
I
That's
know I was showing some of the, I last night I had another networking group. It's for my loyalty program because I have loyalty rewards now. So you can join. So every purchase you make, you can get cash back. Maybe only be 1%, but it's cash back. Um, so I was showing some videos and they were like, Flo, you're making us hungry. It was
yes.
like 8 o'clock. And I was like, okay. They're like, we can't watch this now. We can't, we gotta go. We're hungry. So yeah, I
It's
call it food porn, the food porn on the
it's
TikTok.
normal.
Yeah.
It's normal because it's so good. Flo, you're amazing. Thank you for teaching us your way of being victorious. And thank you for encouraging us to go for the dream that we have. Because the way you went for your dream and what you built in this time and how you're making your dreams come true with following what your your always was your desire to cook and to make things, and your passion, following your passion, brought you to
Right.
be a successful business owner and a victorious person.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we can all be victorious. We just have to keep positive and just shove the negative thoughts and the doubt aside and just have faith and just keep going. I think that's the key for anybody.
Yes, amen. Keep going is what I continue doing.
Right. I remembered, when I was watching The Lion King, when Rafiki was hitting, Simba,
Yeah.
and he hit him, and he says, "Ow, what'd you do that for?" And he says, "That's in the past, so don't remember the past. All the stuff that happened in the past is in the past. Leave it there, and just keep going forward." So, that helped me to just always remember that, just that's in the past.
It doesn't serve anymore. It's gone.
No, no, and I let a lot of that go. I had to. I just a lot I don't remember because I just let it go.
You're amazing.
Oh,
Ah,
thank you.
I love you so much. I can't wait to hug you. I appreciate you being here with us, and I appreciate your time. And tell Bob thank you for letting me borrow you from his time.
You're welcome.
And
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this.
I really enjoy having you, and I love you so much. And oh gosh, I can't wait to hug you.
Oh,
To be honestly,
you're my key adorable.
you and Bob are just too cute. I love you. I'm gonna say goodbye to our audience until next time, until next episode. I'm gonna encourage them to go watch this episode again, and not only that, but go on farmgirledibles.com and shop the amazing, amazing gems and jellies that you make, and the book. I'm excited for the book so that I can experiment some of your things and recipes, and just taste some of the yumminess that you're creating there. I love it. You're the best, Flo. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. No, you're the best.
Stay with me for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Have a great night or have a good day wherever you are, you guys.
And happy Mother's Day weekend.
Yes, it's Mother's Day. Perfect present to just go farm at Girl Edibles and shop.
Yeah. Do a breakfast in bed for mom with some jams and jellies.
Over bacon, over eggs.
Eggs, bacon, bagels, muffins, oatmeal.
And take pictures and tag us in the pictures. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, moms would be so grateful for that. So delicious. All right, I love you, and I love every single one of you. We'll see you next time.